Hello, I'm Alexander Coelho. Today I am on assignment for modernglossy.com. We have the great privilege of taking a Zen moment to sit with the great designers behind the line Lotusgrace. We have Mr. Pelligrini, Mr. Sweeney, thank you so much for sitting down with us. So tell us a little bit about your design sensibility and the way that you two work as a duo.
Well, it's a bit of an obsessive process, I must say, and the collection starts basically, literally from a piece of paper, and you know, the concepts get developed, and then we start working on ideas and more specific ideas, and then the wall in front of my desk starts getting papered, and I just keep taping up things, you know, that we think of ideas and looks and
what are
concepts.
you taping up there? What
Anything from fabric to a trim or something, you know, I'll see somewhere, and just the concepts just start getting built that way until the wall is filled, and then we sit there for hours and obsess. and then this goes on for weeks, and it's quite a process. And you know, I literally wake up in the middle of the night and start writing things down and drawing things in the middle of the night. And so, you know, every morning there's like a stack of papers to go through, and that's how it starts to get built. And then, of course, it becomes more specific, and then the dresses get developed and the groups get developed, but still it's in the paper stage on the wall, and then it'll sit there and literally for hours we'll just kind of stare at it and
it's like a staring contest.
And make changes and keep you know, it just keeps evolving as a process.
So do you think that your fabric choices play a greater role in that? So is it the fabric and then the design comes, or is it like...
It's both, it's both. There's no way to say, because literally if we see a fabric that is so inspirational, it'll change everything, and we'll start to go in that direction and change things. So it's really a combination of everything. You know, we'll love a silhouette, or we'll love a trim or a fabric, and then it just keeps germinating until it becomes a full-blown idea and group.
Well, you mentioned silhouette, and I think that you guys have a couple silhouettes that seem to appear from season to season, but get better and better each time, just based on the fabric changes. What about those silhouettes? Are there certain silhouettes that you gravitate towards?
Well, one of the things we really love is taking iconic shapes and translating them and making them modern. So we have an iconic party dress that we do many different fabrications in, which is just such a great silhouette. And we have a wonderful sheath that's an iconic sheath, and we take those and we really kind of play with them. And it's really great because they become modern and new, but yet they're so classic. And the great thing about that is someone can buy these dresses and literally have them for 20 years, and they'll always seem new. And we don't believe in age. We really believe that the woman just has a sensibility or a style and gravitates to the clothes. And that's, I think, really great, because we've seen them in 16-year-old girls and 70-year-old women, and everyone in between them. They look amazing and different and really uplifting.
Well, I think every woman brings a different gravitas to it, and that's sort of the great thing about you know, that it's all about the wearer. There's somebody in charge of selecting the fabric, and then someone is in charge of you know, picking silhouettes, or does it all sort of happen organically?
A lot of it is organic. You know, we kind of play different strings to certain things, you know, and there's a lot of back and forth.
Is there a right-left brain going on here?
There's a lot of crossover in a lot of ways. It's an interesting situation, you know. It's a structured but not structured kind of dynamic, so that's really good. I tend to be very strong immediately on a visual, and then we kind of go back and forth. And then we kind of do a lot of circular movements. So you know, sometimes it'll be a process, you know. But that's what's great, because you know, if we disagree on something, it's really good because it challenges us both. You know, to really, you know, really give and take. And also like crystallize a point of view. So because we tend to see things sometimes very similarly, but something's very different. It's half and half. So it's good that, you know, there are certain things we'll lock horns on, and then it always has worked for the best, because however it turns out always is a much better version of how it started.
Because it also doubles the woman in a way, you know, our client, or, you know, the customer, because the customer that I kind of have in my mind and the customer you have in your mind, they overlap.
Right.
But there's also an outside that, you know, allows us to go to both.
Yeah. Now, I think it's really interesting. Eric, you started out in finance, right? Or working within the number side.
Yeah.
And now here you are working.
Still doing numbers.
Yeah, but certainly, you know, with a more creative take. What has that been like for you?
Well, I've always loved bright colors, beautiful fabrics, different things like that. So I always, we're going when we're at
We show them shiny objects.
Eric?
Yeah, always in a sea of clothing. But no, it's been really interesting because it's allowed me to really hone on some skills that I knew I had, but
Tap into them.
Totally tap into them and totally bring them to another level, and allow myself to be more creative instead of just being the numbers guy, but to be able to express myself more than just the clothing I pick for myself.
So, right.
So it's.
You talked about fabric, and I think it's so important to talk about fabric.
Yeah.
Fabric, your selections, I have to say, are impeccable, and the way they change your silhouettes, and it's just astounding. Tell us a little bit about that, fabrics that you use.
Well, we work really hard to keep sourcing. We're always out there looking and expanding our view of what's out there. And obviously the fabric is so important, and we really work so hard at getting the most luxurious fabrics we can. And the amazing thing is we do that and yet pair it with an accessible price point, which is really amazing.
Which is a real talent,
Yeah.
Well, we take
a lot of extra work on our part.
It's a lot of work
to make it all happen, and that's our goal. That's our mission.
That's what we want to do.
Yeah.
So, but it's great, and it's exciting to go out there and really source fabrics, and there really so much obviously comes from the fabric. So it's our job to be out there as much as possible, seeing what's out there, and then honing into what we want to do with it, and also playing with it. It's so funny. We'll get a fabric, and it may seem like, oh, it works like this, but then you play with it and really kind of expand what it can do, and it's really exciting, and you come up with really innovative ways to use the fabric. So that's also really fun. And also, we work with a lot of amazing artisans in the factories and do a lot of handwork and so on. And that's just so exciting to see a bolt of fabric turn into literally a work of art.
Well, I think that's the other really great thing about your work is that you are giving all these very high-end touches at a very affordable price point. So talk to us a little bit about that. The fact that you do most of your manufacturing?
Everything right here in New York City. And it's an amazing thing, but it was like putting the pieces of a puzzle together when we first started setting up the manufacturing operation. And it was extraordinary to really find out what's happening right here in New York City.
Who knew?
Factories, incredible companies to work with. And some of the companies we work with in terms of buying the fabrics and the trims and working with some of the manufacturing operations for the flowers we use and so on, they've been in business some 70 years, 100 years, and it's so really fulfilling to be working with these people and helping them stay in business because we want to do whatever we can to keep these amazing artisans here. It's great.
I think it's so great that you guys are championing on those artisans that are still, right here in our backyard.
Yeah. Well, and it's too interesting to let it just fall
by.
Yeah. I mean, truly. I mean, when you walk into some of these, the machinery. Yeah. It just blows your mind.
Some of it's like literally 70 years old. Then you walk in these amazing machines. It's like being in a movie almost to see what's happening, and yet they're still there doing it. It's really an extraordinary situation.
Well, again, what I think is so great is that everyone's some of these designers are going overseas because supposedly it's cheaper to manufacture. But the great thing is you guys are giving lots of look, really great quality. And you guys are able to keep those price points down, and you're manufacturing right here in the U.S.